program. The highlights. Sorry for that. Micat is that Micat hour is that program that highlights all of the activities of government that happen during the course of the week. Other activities in the country that are government related or maybe related to the general population. Those are the things we talk about on Mika Hour every Friday right here on ELBC. And today we're going to be having a special guest. Let me just let the cat out of the bag. At the top of the show, the Minister of Information, Alejo Julius Rennie, is going to be our guest today. He's going to be here, at some point during the course of our conversation to talk about a lot of things. And some of the things we're going to be talking about this morning. You know that the National Elections Commission has announced the final results, official results of the just ended October 10 elections. And, in keeping with the Liberian constitution, a candidate, in order to be declared a winner of that election, presidential candidate that is, he or she must have obtained 50% plus one vote. And according to NEC results, nobody obtained that. But this result has shown that President George M. Weah remains the most popular Liberian politician, regardless of what the folks in the opposition might have told you beforehand. We're going to be talking about some of the things that sort of propels, that fight. Because there are a lot of pundits who are saying, in spite of all of the different propaganda that were preached, in spite of the fact that there was some attrition, in the ruling party a couple of months to elections, President Weah still came up on top. It shows his political dominance over Liberian politics, and many folks are suggesting that the second one is just going to be, an affirmation of that fight. So we're going to be talking about that during the course of today's program. We're also going to be talking about the fact that the CDC won more legislative seats than any other political party in the country. If a far more, then it's our closest rival. So we're going to be, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. So following the NEC announcement, the president addressed Liberians at the Coalition of Democratic Change headquarters. Among a couple of things, the president said he recognizes there are a lot of Liberians out there who voted for him, but he also recognizes that there are other Liberians who might not have seen him as their choice, but he extended a hand of friendship to everybody. He said he's going to be a leader for everyone, irrespective of their political, religious, or social affiliation. So those are the things we're going to be talking about. Plus, a number of projects, a series of new action the president promised is going to be delivering. Firstly, he's going to be ending voluntary working conditions within the health and education sector. He also announced the payment of graduation fees for young people, so there's going to be no graduation and registration fees in some areas. How welcoming is that? I mean, I understand that there were some jubilations in some places, and mind you, when the president promises he delivers, the folks in district number 17 in the Bureau end are attesting to that as we speak. During the course of the campaign, the president went there, sometime in August, and told us, "Oh, no calling here, the president no calling. Okay, I'll make sure that calling is there before elections." And that actually happened. He went there yesterday to officially turn on the lights. So those are the things we're going to be talking about. Plus the fact that the president talked about, ensuring that the beach and waterway project continues. Ensuring that in addition to the increment that they've already effected for doctors, they're going to be increment for other, laboratory technicians, nurses, midwives, and other different people beginning the new budget year. There's also going to be plans. I mean, there are plans also to put traditional leaders on the payroll. So a lot of things to talk about this morning. Plus the fact that, the crisscrossing for political endorsements, have already begun. So yeah, that's the shape of Micat Hour this morning. The Minister of Information, Ledger Huren, is going to be here, but I'm already here along with my colleagues. As always, the Director General of the Liberian News Agency, Kwame Weeks. Kwame, good morning.
Good morning, Boakai.
Yeah, what's up, Pirate, this morning, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Not as good as you are, but
now you're good.
we're kicking. You can look from that.
Well, okay, so the voice you're hearing now is that of Assistant Minister for Information Services, Administrative Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Daniel Mix Thomas. Daniel, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
And Liberia's best comedian, Josephine, has joined us in the studio. Yeah, Josephine, Josephine, I tell you, I just joking. I said, now, the second today, he said, but yeah, we gotta lighten up the mood after the election. It's been so tense. Everybody been on, pins and needles on tenterhooks. So then we gotta lighten up the mood a bit. Josephine, what's up?
I'm very synonymous.
Whatever you just said, what's up? What happened?
My friend, I say I'm very synonymous in morning.
Yeah, what I mean?
With me when you wake up, up your districtly, and Jericho die. You know what I mean? Synonymous.
But I don't want to know.
They said break it down.
Break it down.
So what you can break it, you try and you spoil the world. Yeah, seriously. But anyway, when you ask Kwame, now aku at your ability.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, maybe you eat breakfast in the morning. Kwame get your breakfast. But anyway, I'm happy to be back with a team, especially after the favorite tournament election.
Man, you see all kind of nyama.
Danny brother with his mic. No, pass mark. No. This boy pass mark.
What kind of word Danny use the other day? I don't forget the Bantustan. The Bantustan. Of course. I went looking for that. Anyway, you found it, right?
It was somewhere hidden somewhere, but we're still looking.
You're listening to Micat Hour. Anyway, so yeah, we're back, guys. So the elections results have been officially called by the National Elections Commission, and one of the takeaway from that, and I think is the major takeaway, the official results. Although we knew that for quite some time before the National Elections Commission officially made that pronouncement, but the results, has validated the fact that President George M. Weah remains the most popular politician currently in Liberia. So regardless of what all of the different folks in the opposition had told you prior to the election, there were a lot of different talks. Oh, the people, normally they will say, when they're talking about the opposition folks, they will say, the people of Liberia, the majority of the Liberia, you cannot stop the people's will. So I have to say, President Weah support us soon, and not people of Liberia. So that's the kind of notion that they peddle most of the time. But it turns out, more people, and I'm going to use the word now of my more people want George Weah than any other politician. More people want George Weah than any other politician or any other presidential candidate currently, as reflected by the national election results. And this is a result that has been touted by international observers, by the whole global community, as one of the most credible, free, fair, and transparent elections. Yeah, so that's the fact. That's the that is the foundation that I just wanted to lay, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for work on the chief.
Yeah, you're so right, and you couldn't have placed it any better than that. Did he get a mandate based on the numbers we have? I would say yes, because my chief said that, and when I spoke with him, he said, "Look at the playing field, Kwame. Just look at the playing field." And to come out the way he came out swinging, and even with everything that was stuck against us, the lies, everything they're putting out there, the politics of fear, warmongering. There's so much. They lied to the point where people didn't know what to believe again. And to get this kind of numbers that he got, look at Lofa. Yeah, will tell you a lot. Look at Nimba, where we thought that we would have been within seconds. And come to Montserrato. The incumbent always struggle. When it comes to pulling the numbers in the capital. See how we did impeccably well there. Now you go to the southeast. That is more of a cushion on that side. There was a fight in Margibi and other places, but coming back, I know the president. He always come back. Although he's ahead, but I know he's going to come back and hit a home run.
Daniel,
thank you. So there are factors that points to the president's popularity still being intact. If you go back to 2017, at the point in time he was in opposition, and then we were going against the incumbent. You can see that the popularity at the point in time is not as compared to now. The number of candidates we had 2017 and what we have now, and he's maintaining as an incumbent. That number shows that the president has been doing extremely well. And as a matter of fact, Liberians are still looking up to the fact that his administration, is getting towards doing more. So when these guys try to divide the idea of the Liberians, are tired and they're speaking and the citizens and black. I mean, it just shows the level of weakness in terms of the political ill practices that they always put to the table. So President, for incumbent, going through 6 years of major challenges and still making impacts and still remain the most popular political candidate in the country. It shows and tells us clearly. For example, look at Lofa. 2017, we got like 7%. To see now the president amassing that kind of number in Lofa and even in Nimba, where a Prince Johnson left the coalition and is now supporting, the Unity Party, and he's still making those strides. It's important for Liberians to note that the president is still the most popular politician in this country.
Let's introduce the chief just before we talk to our man Josephine. Josephine, you're going to do the icing on the cake, make everybody, put all of us in the mood and stuff like that. But let's introduce the Minister of Information, like we told you earlier. We have a special guest this morning. He is the Honorable Minister of Information. He's going to be with us for the rest of the program. We're going to chit chat about a number of post-election issues, but specifically some of the programs, the series of new measures, that the president announced on Wednesday for the next term, quite transformational. Honorable Minister, good morning.
Good morning to you, Boyka, and the rest of the team, DG Weeks, and Assistant Minister Thomas, and the minister himself. Good to see you.
Are we ministry again? I forget.
No. I don't want to tell you. No ministry.
Minister,
But good morning, and thanks, guys, for the wonderful work you all do every Friday.
Yeah.
Trying to provide for the Liberian people an understanding of what we do as a government, and so it's important that we continue. And thanks that I'm here this morning to try to sort of provide some visibility and accentuation to the speech delivered by His Excellency the President on Wednesday.
Yeah, but just before we delve into that particular aspect of the discussion here today, but we were talking about the fact that the president, in spite of all of the different narratives that have been peddled out there, but also in spite of one of the things we haven't talked about is the fact that there was some last minute movement from the ruling party. It was like I think 2 or 3 months to the elections, which might have helped the opposition. Had it not been for that, that would have been a slam dunk. And I'm talking about the last minute shift of the MDR. So prior to that, the MDR was a member of the ruling coalition. So it tells you that all the different talk about the president not popular, he still managed to win all of them combined, including those folks that left the ruling party and then joined the opposition. Combined, he still whipped them. So had it been the other way around, what that would have meant?
I mean, one of the things that I know I was listening to you all while on my way, and one of the things I want to highlight also is that I was doing some research across Africa and electioneering, and the thing is that when the incumbent goes against a good slate of candidates,
Indeed.
it is very unlikely that he gets more than 30% of the votes. They're usually around 28, 29%, But you can see in a field of 19 candidates, the president fell shy of 6% of the votes to be re-elected. That's
on the first ballot.
On the first ballot. That's huge.
Yep.
That's huge. 19 persons trying to unseat the president. And he just simply fell short 6% of the total vote cast that should have made him president of the country. So they can make all the noises they want to make, and say all the political things they want to say. But numbers don't lie.
Stats
to tell the difference. 19 candidates and 44% of the vote cast. That's huge.
Yeah.
Usually it will hover around 25,
yeah.
30% at
It's a
most.
big chunk.
You know, it's a big chunk of the votes. And so it shows that, you know, what the president has done in the last 5 years, because I always like to say 5. And if you take COVID from there, then we're talking 4. But, you know, let's leave it. We say 5 years because the first year is a consolidation year. You're building your government. You're trying to put people into offices and all that sort of thing. The real work begins at year 2. So we say in 5 years, given what he's done, it's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Because if you look at what was inherited,
I know.
then you can you know it only the fools will say, and sorry for the lack of a better word, only the fools will say no progress has been made.
I know.
I was listening to some international reports by some Liberians living abroad, always tainted by their own political agendas.
Indeed.
Or, say, the president didn't do well, the roads, the building, the substandard roads, and all that sort of stuff. What kind of economy did we inherit as a government? What was the central bank, the reserves at the central bank? Let's talk about the number of teachers, the health workers, all of these people, the University of Liberia, the JFK. On day one, President Weah was facing protests from university students. He was facing 2,000 health workers not being on payroll.
A 16 billion lie.
Volunteer teachers also too clamoring to get paid.
Right.
And then he stumbled upon the fact that they had printed a huge sum of Liberian dollars just before the elections that he knew nothing about. Nobody told him about it. He had to launch an investigation into it. And at the end of the day, they tried to spin it to put it on the leadership of the government. President, as opposed to president not printing a dime, And so what are they talking about? And now we're talking about a growth of anywhere between 4 to 5% in our economy coming from the IMF and the World Bank. And somebody is saying nothing has happened. They can play the politics they want to play, but the ordinary people know the truth, and that is why they've given him an overwhelming support through their votes.
I mean, you cited it right. You talk about some of the inherent liabilities of incumbents, generally around Africa. The fact that they're going to the elections. Many people say, the fact that you're incumbent, we can cite plenty of things that you did. The other person will be making promises, whereas your record will be looked at.
Yeah.
So that was the case of President Weah. So these folks were saying for years that he's unpopular. He's done this, he's done that. To an extent that some of the times, people were blaming that maybe the guys are peddling more propaganda. But, and that was a fight because, of the advent of social media now. It's quite unlike any time in our recent history. But at the end of the day, he emerged on top. Will you credit that to the level of development taking place across the country that people can see, or the level of political consciousness of the population now, or some other folks, have been sort of saying lately, is the level of sectionalism in the population and all of that? What do you think?
Before I answer your question, let me say this much. Before the president even came to office, remember the debate about the last elections, 2017.
Yeah.
Weah, has no ability to run a country.
No experience.
He has no experience. He can't run a country.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the acumen, neither the experience, and what have you. See what he's done. See what he's done. He's shamed the devil, so to speak. He's shamed the devil, and here we are today, 6 years down the line. He went to the people in 2017 and said, look, here I am. They say I'm a mere footballer. They say I have no experience and I can't run a country. But I gave you my word. If you put me in there, I will do X, Y, and Z. 6 years down the line, he's delivered on those promises.
Exactly.
And he's gone back to the people in the first round and said, look, here I am. You didn't know me then.
Right.
But you trusted me. Now that you know me and you've seen what I'm capable of doing, I want to continue doing what I'm doing and add on to it. And so the people say, yes, I think what he is saying makes a lot of sense. And so they're voting him in office. All these things about tribal politics, the politics of exclusion, the politics of inclusion, and all of that, come to bear when during electioneering time.
Yeah.
I can only but say that we should not forget that this country is a unified state.
Yep.
Where 15 counties and a republic can form of government. There's unity in diversity. But at the end of the day, we must learn the bitter lessons of the past, that when we divide ourselves, we only do it at the detriment of our own development processes, and we hurt the country. Let's leave the tribal politics alone. We're all Liberians.
What do you make of what you saw, and this stemmed from what you just said, Honorable Minister, moving to the last 2-3 weeks, this politics of fear, warmongering, and tribal politics, and all that been peddled by the opposition. Yet we were able to, dumb down the rhetorics and stood our grounds. Elections came. You saw at one point Dylan were holding this blue plastic bag. They were saying, there's a lot were happening. They discredited. They will be for, and then when the results start to go in their favor, then they go against them. Then they go against, and then back and forth. And now they were doing all of these tricks, campaigning, and then saying at the same time they were going to go to courts and all of these different things. And knowing a lot of the population, the young folks, if you're 20 years old today, you know nothing about what happened during the war, right? And why you think they're peddling this dangerous line, that, war, and all of that?
Guys, we must not forget that we're in politics. And sometimes, people forget that they have to play by certain rules. I know we beat ourselves as the ruling government for not doing more in terms of public information, that sort of thing. But we have to understand that the context in which we're operating is different. When you are an opposition political party, there are a lot of latitudes available to you. It's like rebel versus government forces. The government usually is tied
playing by the rules,
because it has to play by the rules.
Right.
Geneva Convention, in rules of engagement in war, the do's and the don'ts. The rebel ain't get time. They kind of village, see some people chicken, they eat it, they pick. They do these things, they pillage the country and they move on.
Yeah.
And very seldom are they held.
And a clear example of that, Chief, I just add, is the fact that, when NEC was announcing the results, the opposition had already gone out there with Joseph Boakai claiming that they know what the results are going to be and blah, blah, blah. And they reflected that more Liberians, their political stuff. The president, on the other hand, waited for the final announcement.
He didn't say a word.
He didn't say a word until the Elections Commission finally made their pronouncement, because he's the president.
Yeah, he's the president of the country, and that was the most responsible thing to do. Keeping the peace of this country is not on the onus is, even though it's on all of us Liberians, but it's mostly on the head of the government, headed by His Excellency. So that is why he always calls for calm, always calls for peace. Look, if there any one thing I want to leave this country with, the president say is, I want to leave it peaceful. It was given to me peacefully. I want to return it peacefully. And so he's always, advised his supporters, if not millions of them across the country, that look, you will be provoked. A lot of stuff will happen, but keep your eye on the sparrow. Keep your head above the water. Do not subvert the peace.
I just want to also talk about
problems coming as a result of the contestation we're in. Let it be seen from the side of the opposition, not from the ruling party or the government. And that is why sometimes people criticize the security forces. They criticize, all of us. But we have to have thick skin.
Knowing our history.
We have to, exercise restraint in the face of sometimes unprovoked and unwarranted attacks.
I mean, I just want to emphasize the level of credibility of the elections. In addition to all that have been said by the international community, because I mean, within the first set of hours following the elections, I mean, these people were so amazed that this was happening in an African country, that was so remote and all of that. The level of transparency, the tabulation, the collation of tabulation, and the announcement of final results and all of that.
Even the
To the
method.
extent that I'm not going to call him, but there's one very critical journalist. He rang me up and said, "Damn it!" I said, "What happened?" He said, "We had a peaceful mail." I said, "What you mean?" He said, "Well, man, the TLC," because the first set of results sort of put the opposition ahead, right? So I think for a day or two,
Yeah.
and then before the president took the lead. And he said, "We are peaceful man." I said, "What you mean?" He said, "They were not happy in all African countries." He said, "We are a peaceful man." I said, "Yeah." So basically, that was his line. And the president has consistently promised, even at the United Nations, at ECOWAS assemblies and all other different places, that elections in Liberia are going to be free, fair, and transparent. And he delivered.
Yeah.
On that. And we're just going to have the icing on the cake. I'll go and talk to my man Jose Dima. I don't know where he live. Daniel, what's up?
Yeah, and one of the things that during the course of the last the general elections that they did, that was, I think it was way below the belt, was they posted on Facebook, I think you remember, that the EU had already forwarded to them 90% of the election results, which puts them
They had to come back. The EU had to come
exactly.
back and say, "No, we
You see,
can
these
do
are some of the irresponsible,
so-
level of handling, elections activities in the country, and on the issue of the fear mongering that was actually, being spread in our society, the way Liberians settled it. If you saw the elections morning, I went to the polling center by 5 o'clock in the morning, and in fact, it was already crowded with people. So apparently, what actually helped was the fact that the president came up and gave a message to the country, reiterating the government's commitment to supporting peace and security, and urging all Liberians to go out. I think that was a game changer, because you would have seen on Facebook once upon a time somebody was saying you gotta get water, you gotta get enough food and medication, because it's gonna get blood and all of that, and people became very afraid. But after the joint security in the last 3 weeks before elections had that press conference, and they committed to securing the state and holding, or any actors of violence responsible, it changed the game.
Yeah.
So going forward to the runoff, we are also very convinced that this president is still continuing in that direction of maintaining the peace. And Liberians can rest assured, most times during the 9 hours on the open conversations, many of the callers that will call will definitely praise the president because of that. And they will say, all of the talks these guys are talking, we already know what the president has done. We've seen what he's done. When they try to tribalize the essence of these elections, we remind them that some of the developments that are going across the country is now on the basis of tribal politics. It's on the basis of all Liberians are Liberians. And like the president said when he was inaugurated in 2017, when he visited the Winners Chapel Church, he said his government is a government of all Liberians. And he's urging all of his officials, cabinet officials that will be appointed, that nobody should go to any military agency or public collaboration with the issue of CDC or not CDC. Let the people do the work on the basis of their competence, and that has helped us very quickly. And I think that's something I want to highlight.
Yeah. I was just telling you to tap your mic a little bit.
Oh no, it's okay. I think it's okay.
It is important to also to note that when we are in such a contestation like this, there will be some times where the tension will rise. Don't get carried away. We are Liberians. Sometimes people say "van voom." People use the mood of the day to sometimes engage in acts that are not fair. But when you're fighting somebody and they feel that they're underdogs and they're going down, they reach out to any and every little thing that's around them to try to see whether they can gain some upper hand. Unfortunately, that's what happened during the course of the electioneering period. But we must pat ourselves as Liberians. That,
Across the board.
All across the board, that we deliver on our democratic credentials. first round of elections generally pass off peacefully.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we had some isolated incidents of violence that led to the loss of lives from some of our compatriots. Magnanimous again, very graceful. The president of the country reached out to all, even those of the supporters of the opposition that, unfortunately, passed as a result of electoral violence. He reached out to them because they too are Liberians, and he extended a hand of sympathy and said to the bereaved family that after all of this, we'll try to identify all of those individuals and their families, and we'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
That's the role of a caring and loving father and leader.
Yeah.
And that shows responsible leadership.
Yeah.
And that is why when we talk about maintaining this country's peace and tranquility, we talk about who is best suited to ensure that it remains peaceful.
Yeah.
Just listen to the vibes coming from the two quarters in contestation.
Yeah.
Let's weigh them and see.
You can tell.
You can tell.
The difference is so wide.
That's a good
The
point.
difference is so wide.
You can tell.
You can tell. And also,
But
I
even
think we
Jeremiah Cole, I think during his first interview, when he was selected by Joseph Boakai, did say that having dealt with President Weah, he knows that the president is a very peaceful man. Yeah. That's the second in command. I mean, the vice chancellor of the Unity Party.
internally, sometimes people say, hey, what the president doing? Let's bring the security forces. Let's bring the army on his
Right,
side.
yeah.
Let's do this, let's do that, let's do the other. When the president said, look, gentlemen, cool down. Cool down.
That will break.
Cool down. The world is not coming to an end.
No.
And so but these are tests of a good leadership.
Yeah.
And it shows you that he has this country at heart. I didn't travel or left. I didn't leave the country during the course of the Civil War. So nobody can argue with me about Liberia and the suffering that people suffer here and all of that.
And it's very
And
important
then-
to note.
King Peace and some of the leaderships of the past. These things that are happening here today, I'm sorry,
It's more.
it's not going to happen. Gange, where?
SKD.
I know, eh?
Gange,
Not impossible.
where?
Never possible.
And impossible.
What?
Even President Salif's level of tolerance was stretched to the
Yes.
That's how it react.
that she had to react.
Yeah.
Close some radio stations down.
Yeah.
She put some beginning inside.
Yeah.
Then the NSA. Remember the Molu thing?
Yeah.
When he said there were Libyan snakes and all that kind of stuff. What have they not done to stretch the elastic or to pump the balloon with hot air that could cause it to burst? They've done every and anything.
It's true.
Attacking the convoy of the president of the Republic
Yes.
of Liberia is tantamount to treason and trying to overthrow the government in the middle on the eve of elections.
They openly say it.
Yeah. And the bush about
They
that
go on social media and
yet-
their own air for all of that.
Nothing-
We will buy
Let's say, look,
guns.
let's cool down, gentlemen. Let's keep it quiet. All these things too will come to pass.
Yeah. It is.
These were signs that they weren't even sure of the numbers they would have gotten.
Yeah.
They were sensing defeat.
They try error.
And so at the end of the day, this is where we've reached. Good heavens know why we reach where we reach.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think we'll put this thing through as Liberia.
Inshallah.
What a ministry thing about the whole thing.
The ministry is different.
Well, I will say to you, my ministry have been strangulated by my codeine. Because first of all, if you look at the structure of my ministry, this is the ministry where the people be heavily funded.
We ministry that.
Ministry of Civil Affairs. And in the Ministry of Civil Affairs, this is where we go through concession to know whether it's good for the country or it's good for the country.
Why you made the whole election?
The election was very beautiful. That thing I enjoyed about the election. It was really an election. People don't really know the meaning of election. Most people go to school, they know the meaning of certain word. When they say election, it was an election.
Why is
That's a
that?
beautiful thing I enjoyed about the election.
Yeah, what thing?
Some of the Kennedy and how they went about the campaign.
Appeton, right? Appeton, the first one.
I'm ready for Abidjan. I'm calling you Abby. Yeah.
I saw the man on the campaign trail.
Oh yeah.
You said, "Yeah, hell of my man."
Yeah, well, the boy enjoying a campaign. Well, my Gilbert.
That
My Gilbert.
oh say oh no.
My man, lead a man.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm going to go with a broom.
That we don't want that man that tell.
Yeah, Tim. You will just be waving a broom with 2 cones for a car. No price. I enjoy the bad way. But the campaign the election was very good for the fact that some of the things minister said, some of the things you're talking, there was that a thing that was happening. And people's trying to create panic, people trying to make people scared. We will do day, it ain't want to happen. We already know your intention, and look at it, this and that. Isn't it? And for the way it go to see opposition, when you look at this, the minister said the president peaceful. That wasn't the thing happening. You know, me, I want to whip it you. See what I tell you, seriously. See what they. But anyway, what I want to say is that I am representing my fellow people. We get action from your country, and I just from a group. Nima will say no. I start with my group. Nima will say no to whatever. And as a chairman for our group, so what we're trying to do right now is to consolidate. We're trying to consolidate and make sure which is about to happen does not happen.
No,
because as a son of Nima, Nima country. And we will not, some of a few Nima people who are still good and remain grateful will not sit down to let the ungrateful to play. Because if you look at President William saying he came to power in the power of the bureau in 2017, this is one of the country he had done the higher investment and higher development into.
Yeah.
Which is another country.
now one upset in fact in D high.
After
most around this.
after most of this country.
He did a role in complaint.
He paid work for we complain. He get work into the second plane, how to bound, all places. So to see women buying to come and pay him this ungratefulness because of German, it's an unfair. This is not fair. It's not fair. It's proving that Nima people are very ungrateful to the high letter. Because this a man who from Green Crew, he has to get a connection with Nima country. And so he had always were voting him.
Okay, so what's about the fact that about 50,000 Nigerians voted for the president though?
No, that's in the buying voted for a person that the few who were not ungrateful. My brother, don't try to pump up the thing to say, as a son of Nima country, as a son of from the town family.
Pavois.
The man. I'm from the town family. Yeah, but we're in town. We're in town fought along with Prince Johnson. And we're in town to have my uncle. So yesterday you have to reward people because defend people. That not bring one fire going up there. So we do have
You fire gone.
my uncle fire gone. That's how I said chancellor. My uncle used to be president. Yeah,
You're chancellor.
he's a chancellor. I said,
You're
gonna look up pistol. You get look up pistol. But see, you're about me so with pistol. You must stand there. Especially one from your country. So what I'm trying to say here, it's not fair. And when I pamper people to say, this that we agree. Few Nibans were grateful for what President we are doing, but I would say here, generally speaking, and from my perspective as a Nibayan,
There's 2.5 language that the dictionary.
perspective. What I would say here is that Nibayan need to reconsolidate.
Yeah.
Need to reconsolidate and sit down for a taking care. It takes a man who abandoned the pay he found. So but right here, some person like we're joking, he make going to farm. There some person will go fake Green Crew will fake so and forget about all people because he person care.
Yeah.
But there's a man who live buy and can't say, near country, there's a play, let develop the play.
Yeah. And
Because we
more
know
to come.
this and that. He go care road to Lofa, doing all the one of them, different country, he doing things there. You see, the state, the professor, it get vexed to say, oh, because they may be, oh, you go to my country, we'll be training this, that. The state stand by him.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
what about you who they do the good for? Why you be ungrateful that day? Why you can't do the one mentality and be good one time?
Anyway, that's the voice of say one. What I forgot the name again.
Just a Jackass one.
Because
I say here say no. I say here a group say no to what about to happen, what happen.
No, I think on a more serious note, development to a county is an important aspect of the work of the government.
Of the government, yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it leads to political dividends, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Nimba County is a strategic county in our country. The demographics tell, that's the second most populated county in our country.
Yeah.
So obviously, whether we
You like it or not? Yeah, that's
policy
Borders,
policies of national development has to be driven
Towards that
down
county.
towards that county.
Yeah.
So that people can feel the essence of development and governance. So it's not because that the president or the government, to the extent putting
Wants a reward,
major
yeah.
development, some major developments into Nimba means that it would have amounted to political dividend. But again, in a political race, people would say so.
Yeah.
You say, what good is it if we're giving you bread and you cannot return, a favor with a simple glass of water or to say thank you, so to speak.
Correct.
But these are politics of our
But
times.
if you look at it, Honorable Minister, you see where we were versus where we are now with the numbers from Nimba. I would say we can pat the people of Nimba on the backs.
Yeah, sure.
We just need to go out there.
I think
the
more engagement, the more strategic engagement,
and the time,
the more strategic engagement with relevant leaders,
right?
Such as Edith Gonglo, where
will yield dividend. And let's bring us to that, and that brings us to that point.
Can we get to the some of the pronouncements are made by the president of the committee?
Let's do it on the second half of the show.
Good.
Let's deal with the politics now.
All right.
And then the second half of the show is the president's address to the nation. So somebody like Edith Gonglo, where a well-known daughter of the county, she's come to say, look, here I am. I see, something good in President Weah, and I think it's important for us to continue to supporting and let him, have his second term so that he continue his development work, not just in Nimba, but across the country. And I'm sure she will be strategically engaging with her kinsman to ensure that more votes are garnered for the president in the second term bid. Tribal politics can be good, and it can also be bad,
be very dangerous,
and very dangerous. And that is why you see I try to as a government we're trying to discourage that because it's not good for the reconciliation process. It's also not good for social cohesion. It's not good for unity, because then you start segmenting the country.
And put people against
people against people. And we politicians, they're good at using those kinds of cleavages, those kinds of cracks, social political cracks, to put people heads together. And probably that's some of the things that led to the civil war. And so we must not promote such.
You're so 100% correct, especially you saw where the president had to visit, I think, the entire 70 some more districts in the country.
That's unprecedented.
Right.
There are 72 districts, electoral districts.
Right.
He visited 70 of them.
And then look at what the opposition did. As the biggest opposition, and who he's going against, Boakai. He look at the whole southeast.
The cherry pick the places they live in.
Yeah, they that entire sector and all of that. It brings up to the point where you're talking about tribal politics and what the president is doing. He's not picking counties because he's expecting political dividends. He's doing it because of the strategic, location and demographics, especially when it comes to population. Nimba is also bordering with one of the the countries that we do business with. Yeah, and that's
Cote d'Ivoire is
economically
is the biggest, economy in our Mano River Basin.
right.
I mean, we must engage with Cote d'Ivoire, and to be able to engage with Cote d'Ivoire, it means we have to make sure that road is paved.
It's paved.
All the way to the border, because it brings economic dividend.
Yeah.
People don't understand these things, but that is the reason why roads are at the top of the agenda. Roads and electricity, because they are binding constraints to industrialization and also to economic growth. A study was done by the World Bank and IMF, and they identify roads, ports, and electricity. That's why you see heavy investments are being done in the road and the energy sector of our country. Because once we do that, people now can small, macro, and I don't. What's the word? Micro, medium. Macro is micro, small, and medium-sized businesses can boom. Those are the bedrock of economic growth. And then manufacturing can take place. And then you can. It's also about an inducement of foreign direct investment. If I want to invest in Liberia to build a tire factory, and I'm going to spend 40% of my
how do I get my products?
Electricity. It's difficult for me to make that decision. But if there's a power grid that meets my needs and can cut my investment to about 10% or 15% of my production cost, obviously that's an incentive for people to come
here. The people in VOA now are celebrating. Just 2 days ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're celebrating.
And we should state that is one of the commitments that the president made on Wednesday when he spoke to the people. He talked about a number of things that you're going to deliver, and we're going to get to that, like the minister said. But since you brought up the VOA, I just wanted to point out that the president committed that he's going to work towards the expansion of the Liberian Electricity Corporation's, electricity network, so that it reaches more homes and encourages industrialization that the minister is talking about. Because one of the binding constraints to Liberian development is the lack of electricity. So, that has been happening across the board. But we're talking about political endorsement.
Let me tell you something before we can go into that, Mambra. I can hear the minister of our competition into the one. Minister can be speaking, say people may not give message that would not portray in the country and our business.
Where are you coming from? Where are you from?
So for you fire from Foya.
From Foya?
Yeah, let me tell you something, my brother. You see, from the time the election finished, some of our uncle them from Foya, they can be sing all kinds of things to we. Say we betray our brother. We do the one, we do that one, we do that one. It's not so, my brother. We can't be living in the country where 1847 everybody just thinking one sir. It's not good. It's not good. When somebody let that man from Nima was petitioning just now, we look for will not be that, will not do that. Let me tell you. You see, Debo.
Joey.
Yeah. I can call him Debo. Because we are son. You know that Lufa country were having president before.
Yeah.
2 times competition. How you remember? From there, Nima. From how you remember them Nima came. Nima came. The thing we do for those people them, my brother. Lufa country stem down Nima. But when they came, my brother, that they both started doing the one. You go to Vanjama today, you can see the pavement. People then can power road them in the capital there. Vanjama, you see cement pavement. You can see street electrician order, and then they play getting farm doing the one being administrative, all the one then can clean. That
your son,
that was some.
Wow.
So that the one we see. We say no. Sunday ball can do the one for we.
Yeah.
We stand behind the ball.
The one for you voted now.
The one we can vote because of realization. That realization can be we can vote down. Because of realization. We know for people to say, they want that. So people will not come to cause we to say, this, that. They ball doing good. They ball change, they can do a good job. So Liberia can be better. And to all the other country them, I want purification to you. I want help purification to you. If you not satisfied with the thing, because you know everybody they boy will be happy. Alama bra.
No.
You know everybody. When you get problem, get grievantation, what I want for you to do, bring it to the table. Go to the big people that we are counting them. Big people that we can get to the president. Say, oh, Mr. President, they want you to do, we not let they want. We want for you to do they want. We want for you to do they want. We're not happy with they want. We're not happy with they want. But you not get retention. If they will not listen to you, to get retention. People can say read there.
Yeah.
Then that way you get point to transportation or to talk. So I want to every country where you can hear say, oh, you might well leading this that because people get grievance say that I basically do that one for. So they want send message to the board. So we make your message your grievance say you put it to the paper. You can go school the registration, send people to Mr. President, say Mr. President, we not certify with the one. Not to say we know that they want you sit down to the table and expectation that one together.
Yeah.
And let me be all work for all. You can't play they play game to the people them. You know what will happen they play here? We the old people them want for our children them to go to school. We want low. We want go. Yeah, we want for them to put low to the low. We want teacher them to take place so they can teach our children them. We want go to good hospital.
You want to put low to the low?
Put low in the low.
Anyway, that's the voice of Sir for your fire. Anyway, but this brings us to another important aspect of our conversation that we're talking about, the endorsements that have happened in the last couple of days. So there's been two major political, actors in the Liberian society. There's been other low-key endorsements and what have you, but there's been two major political actors in the Liberian society that have endorsed the president, which are quite significant. I will need to talk about. First was Bezonga Finley. Bezonga has been, some of the time he's not as pronounced as other candidates. Some of the folks not candidates, in fact, some of the actors in Grand Bassa will say, "Oh, I am the godmother or the rescue mother," and all of the different, personality of Grand Bassa County. But the election results show that the Bassa people realize, and that's why we can talk about the political consciousness of the population. They've realized that she's not on the ballot.
No.
The only person on the ballot that has any relationship with Bassa, that President George Mbuya. And as a result, they gave him their votes. But now he's also been joined by the senatorial candidate who got more than 50% of the votes. I'm talking about Bezonga Finley. So Bezonga is at the moment. So if you count Bezonga, maybe John J. Bakwe, and who knows, other actors might fall in line at some point during the course of. But we can talk about them for now. We can think that, we might just say that Bassa might be a clean sweep for the second round, because if Bezonga get more than 50% of the vote, and the president
50,000 plus.
Yeah, and the president got the majority of votes during the first round of elections, and he and his nearest rival, the former vice president, were almost like 10 points apart. Despite all they said about Bassa, you know what that's going to be. But also, it's not just Grand Bassa County. That would mean quite a lot for the Bassa belt. That's Riverses and might give them parts of Montserrado. Because they're going to be seeing first that our sister so young. President William mother was a Bassa woman. You know that, right? Bezonga Finley is practically like a patriarch of the Bassa land. So that was that as far as that front is concerned. Then on yesterday, we had the former superintendent of Nimba County, who has gone toe to toe with some of the folks who regarded themselves as the Lord of Nimba. The last election, for instance, the number of votes that divided I'm talking about Edith Gonglowe, that divided her from the current vice presidential candidate of the Unity Party. I think it was about 2,000 votes. So they came 30%, 32, I think 32 to 31%. So that was the difference between the two of them. She is she's the most prominent woman, female political leader of Nimba County, but also like the leader of the minor group of people. And as much as we don't want to talk about politics, but we can talk about the demographic. We don't talk about tribes. We can talk about the demographics. How it is divided. So a lot of pundits have talked about how significant these two major endorsements have been, and they've been loud about it. It's quite unlike what Tier 1 did. Tier 1 was an institutional endorsement. So the LPP in the and some of the background conversation we're beginning to hear all of that. Considering all the stinging criticisms that the Unity Party received from Tiawan Gonglo, he talked about how President Seli was a more effective leader than former Vice President Joseph Boakai is, and he was able to resign from President Seli's government.
Yeah.
So how will he support former Vice President Joseph Boakai? So for him to be, you can tell, because he was quite unlike his sister Edith, unlike Finlay. He didn't make the kind of like he was quite convicted.
No.
So you can tell.
Look, some of these things are just based on simple ego.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ego.
Totally
Not
agree.
about the politics. They know the truth, but the ego.
They're in denial as well.
It's simply
proud.
political denial.
Yeah.
Should I be seen around George? We have,
Yeah.
I come from a certain group of people, a class of individuals, and I don't like President Weah.
Yeah.
So if I go there, they will be disappointed in me. But the truth is the truth.
Yep.
The truth is the truth, and that is some of the reasons why you see we're here today. That certain people of our country believe that power should be bequeathed unto them.
Yeah.
They are the elites. They are the ones who are supposed to be in politics and in political power in our country.
TWP
The rest of
mentality.
us must be followers.
That's what's scary.
And that is why President Weah broke that chain.
Yep.
He opened the gate.
TWP
And said,
mentality.
look, this is not an exclusive right for any one person.
Exactly.
Everybody has a right to participate in the politics of the country, and the Liberian people will decide who their leaders should be. Today, he's leading the country, and it is hurting to the core these group of people.
Yeah.
They will go at lengths to make sure they try to get him out of power.
Yep.
And which is wrong, though.
Very wrong.
You don't have to like anybody.
But what they do.
But the manner in which they carry on, that's what hurts to the core. At the end of the day, if you look at President Weah and look at the demographics of our country, he represents about 90% of the people living in Liberia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in Nimba, we and
He represents 90% of the people living in Liberia.
Yeah.
And
The makeup is so clear.
A lot.
Kru, Bassa, Grebo,
for Nimba County.
Nima Gil.
Gil, Nimba, all of that. The men drove 5 hours from Tapita straight into Buyendo.
We and all, yeah.
We passed 37 wooden bridges.
Can you imagine?
2021.
Having a feel.
Going way in there in the bush. The people say for the first time since 1944, they have not seen a president. They have only seen Tottenham then. No president went in there.
You see?
President we went there.
Wow.
We call ourselves, some of us who made the journey, call ourselves the Buyendo graduates. There's other people who went, but they were scared. They stayed.
Yeah, we stayed. We stayed. We're one of those groups.
We
didn't get our diploma.
Yeah, we went in there.
I didn't. I was scared.
So when you're talking about somebody who loves the ordinary people of our country, since Stockman, this President Weah,
That's true.
He's a true representation
That's
of
true.
the ordinary people of our country. Let's look at endorsements. What do endorsements bring to a political establishment? First, it's about confidence. It's about confidence.
Yeah.
That the candidate who is endorsing say, look, I see a lot in this person, and I believe they can deliver. This institution, this individual, I believe they can deliver. Secondly, it's about assurances. The candidate tells his supporters that I can assure you that the person I am holding or endorsing are the one you should be going after, because I've seen the greater good in as your leader. You follow me. I'm showing the light, and I'm saying let's go this direction. So it's good for the politics, the optics, the assurances, and the votes, but also to the party that has been endorsed and the candidate being endorsed must be seen as the kind of person who the electors themselves, the ordinary voters themselves,
Draw to. Yeah.
and you can see in Bassa that the Bassa people, and not just Bassa as a county, but Bassa as a belt of people.
Yeah.
We can realize
Across a many different tribes
their
as well.
son is with them, and they will, and I'm sure this runoff will tell the
And Chief, before we talk to Daniel, there's something that Edith said on yesterday. She said, firstly, she was voting for President Weah because she wanted him to continue his development.
Correct.
But then she said elections have consequences and that she's voting to ensure that the peace of the nation, at the level of stability that the nation has, remains as it is. Because people are quite familiar with all that President Weah is. They've experienced his leadership for 5 years and all of that. But they aren't at sure about what the future holds for, firstly, a 78-year-old former vice president who's ailing. And we're not saying this as a matter of politics. He said it himself. Unwell. With actors who are below him. Some of the actors, in fact, the vice standard bearer of the Unity Party, when he went to campaign this out, he barely mentioned Joseph Walker.
Yeah.
If I hear basically saying, vote for me, I am your Joseph.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vote for me, I am your Joseph. I will be in the X, Y, and Z and all of
Never
that.
mentioned the candidate.
Never mentioned Joseph Walker once. So
But that's the point.
that's the level of anxiety, that some of the folks endorsing the president now have. Edith mentioned something like that on yesterday. She talked about the stability. She said President Weah has maintained the stability, the peace, and order of the nation, and she thinks that we're on a steady path that we need to maintain, and she's going to be vigorously campaigning for the president. So yeah, but Daniel, go ahead.
So thank you, Parker. So there's been two conscious endorsements, and I like the way the chief puts it with regards to this elitist political idea that's been portrayed by the current key opposition, the Unity Party. So, President Tubman started to polish the rough diamond by changing the philosophy of the two parties at a point in time and bringing in a lot of indigenous people on board. And President Weah only added a lot of value to this by recognizing the most ordinary people that are affected either by development or non-development activities in the country. So if you see the endorsement for Grand Bassa County, it wasn't just an endorsement that Senator Finn, Senator-elect, decided to do, at his own morale, but it was something that he had to consult with the people of Bassa in looking at the level of work. Look, this is the first president that has touched almost all of the districts in Grand Bassa County developmentally.
Daniel, let me hear you there. Let's open the lines because we're running out of time. So I want to open the lines at this point. I could go to Josedi or Kwame, but let's open the lines at this point. Take like 5 minutes of calls and then come back, so that we hear from the public. We've been talking for more than an hour now. You're listening to Micat Hour. Today we have a special guest, the Honorable Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Minister Ledger, who Julius Reigning is our guest today. He's going to be here for the rest of the program. Who knows? Maybe Elbc might give us additional time to talk. But yeah, 080-514-096. That's 080. Oh yeah, Minister Papa was stupid. Just at the 080-514-096, 080-514-096, or 086-561-537. We have the former superintendent and former senatorial candidate on the line from Grand Bassa County, Superintendent Janje Bagwe. Janje, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Braga, and good morning to Minister Ledger Reigning, and good morning to the Assistant Minister, Thomas.
Morning, bro.
We also have the Director General of the Liberian News Agency here.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And the Minister of Stupid Affairs.
That Minister of Stupid Affairs from Baba, you don't come to work again, so I think for somebody else. Yeah, but it's interesting. I called this morning to commend you guys for the reminder to the Liberian people every Friday on what the government has done. And the new promise assured us by the president. And I think our people in Baza are very grateful to have their mother's son, their sister's son, to be in a process. And I think the Baza people would not let President Weah go because of the level of work he has done in the country.
Exactly.
And Baza is no exception to that. And let me also congratulate the former minister, former President Milton Bosoga Finet, that now that we all coming to put hands together to make sure that Grand Bassa County and other surrounding county adjacent to Bassa will go blue on November 14th, where we'll be voting number 2. And we have to be, let me just commend you guys, but we have to do more in the awareness aspect, because we saw over 100,000 plus invalid vote, and we all have to increase our awareness on that. But I want to show you that with our coming together, working with all the teams, Team Phoenix, Team Backward, Team Willie, Team Joe, in fact, we are talking to all independent candidates as well. We are reaching out to them.
Wow.
And now in the not distant future, you will hear one of the independent candidates who was the territorial candidate will be a special support as well to president. We are second term. So we are leaving those two untouched.
You will call me.
No.
You know that we are calling me. She herself will come to the floor. I want to say to the campaign team in Basel, by Minister Shemo and Dr. Butler and Daniel Chia. They did extremely well, and we're all going to rally around them to make sure that we deliver.
Go back to lockdown.
We are not joking.
How about some lockdown?
Development. Yeah, we see a key development, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's the voice of Janjay Bakpe. Let's talk to. Do we have a caller there? Okay, let's talk to this caller right here. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, Nimo, where are you calling from? Okay, go ahead. Your name is?
Mama Abraham.
Oh, Mama, you got to speak about.
I think you say earpiece, so it's
Okay, let me say thank you. Hello?
Abraham, you got to take out the earpiece. You using earpiece?
Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me say thank you for the show this morning, but I beg you, please, my brother Kubala, I want you to please inform the president. Let him go back to Lima. Let him come out to Magidi. Let him go back to Bomi. Whatsoever that he did not get in the majority vote, let him go there and then demand them again. You should not just say whatsoever. Let him just go to the same place that they know they have, they have more votes. You should go back there again and remind them that, this is the 30 minutes to the game, the extra time. This is the injury time in the game. You should not give up. You should remind them. You should not stop. One thing I know is that this government and this president will win the election. But you should have to work. A lot of people will say, but charm is not enough. You have to fall. Let me thank you very much. But don't also forget, Mr. Governor, I told you about our institution in Guazon. Maybe can't get for you to come here. But then, it's so busy. I bet you like maintenance.
No, we need to work on it. I will talk to the campaign manager and other thing. Then we can work on it. Yeah, maybe we can bring in there. Who knows?
Okay, sir.
All right. That's you can call us on 080-514-096 or 086-5615-37. Let's talk to Assistant Minister Jua Sano. Minister Sano, good morning.
Good morning, Bwana Bufana. Good morning, our boss, J. Julius Redding. Yes. And to the two of my colleagues, Dr. Weiss and Minister Thomas, including the Minister of People Affairs. Let me join the team this morning by word of telephone to commend our boss, who is in studio, to add more ingredients to the talk show this morning. I was very happy last night when the president went to District 17. Do I remember when he went there on the 19th of August 2023 during the campaign rally, people asking that they were in darkness, and he made a public commitment and say in the next 1 month, your real light. And before the 19th of September last month, Apple was lighted, but last night he went to officially put a light on. This is the kind of leader we are yearning for in this country, who says and does exactly what he tells his people. This second campaign we are on now, that have been declared by NEC, we are doing house to house, door to door, community to community. After Juma prayer today in District 13,
can go to war and tell people what to do.
Yeah, no,
I'm saying we are doing house to house, door to door, and community to community. After Juma prayer today, there will be huge endorsement inside District 13 today, where I will be, Sewu Carrasco will be here, all will also be there.
District 13?
District 13, New Georgia, District 13 in New Georgia, where this guy represents Papi Sumo.
Okay, who's going to be endorsing?
group of Muslims and Madigo women
Okay.
today. Last, we don't do it from 2 o'clock down by the grace of God.
Okay.
So we are doing it, and on Saturday, which is tomorrow, I don't know when it's expected in MGTC here in District 2, where I live.
Can't put us in a minister can tell that one. Can't put it us at one person. Allah. Is this about to 2 hours just now? Some what can make me see for next man.
I tell you, I said,
Yes, what do you want happy money? It can't throw one just now. If people can be sitting, it's a famous food and it's a basso. Yeah, you call me just now. No, and tell the person it comes to 2 hours, it can leave it again. Yeah, you can put I guess somebody do our minister can tell you say it jump people at the pay. You can't jump for this hour. Yeah, I can't do our. Let's send to the next
No, we got
Okay.
we got Gilmore on the line.
No, Gilmore, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Director Weeks. And let me say good morning to my friend and brother, the Minister Lejo Rennie, Parker Fofana, and Liberians everywhere. My number one comedian in the house this morning, the minister. He's the minister of common sense. Yeah, I want to add this morning to thank the Liberian people for being so peaceful during the electoral process, and also congratulate His Excellency on winning the popular vote, the majority vote in the first round. As we head off to the runoff, the president spoke to the nation the other day and emphasized a few things, which of course says it all for the next 6 years, what the government will be about. And I think it's because of those things that we are seeing the level of endorsements, the quality of endorsements that are coming the way of the president and the CDC. Yeah. People are saying that their own promises to their constituents, to their counties, to their people are the same with His Excellency and the CDC-led government. Mm-hmm. You know, you would tailor or pivot your decision towards these things with people with like minds, with similar agendas. So, like you guys rightly put it, and quoting Madam Edith Gonglo Ware, mm-hmm. who went against her brother's decision to endorse the former ruling Unity Party. All right, mm-hmm. To turn and come towards our end to endorse the president. That tells me that the NEMA vote will be 50-50, or perhaps NEMA will turn blue. Prince Johnson is not on the ballot. Okay? President Weah has the NEMA connection as well. You guys are talking about graduates of Doro and all of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, he has that connection. He lives in NEMA. He has the Bassa connection. He has the choir connection. But these elections are not about tribal connection or whatsoever. People want to make it that way, but the people have understood about the development of this country.
Thank you, Gilman.
Yeah. So I just want to encourage all. Like a caller stated that President Weah should go to those counties that
he lost
win the majority.
Yeah.
I think that should be something considered. If he can go or send people there to preach the message. Thank you very much. I'm following.
Thank you. Let's talk to Madam Ruth Baker. Madam Baker, good morning.
Good morning, brother. The minister will tell you to pick my call.
No.
Yeah, but I like it. Yeah, you're the best son of them. All the police will be going up on the city.
But I just see your call.
No.
I wouldn't just see your call.
Yeah.
I don't want to call you back. Go ahead.
Ceasefire.
Money.
Ceasefire. You on the radio already?
All right, talking.
Sorry.
Yeah, Yeah, man. Because yesterday the teacher said, you know, I got my property there too much. All you pay brought there. You know the president here. You know, every day I pray. That is never how you know I'm always a paper cat. Now, you know, the good thing, I care what happened number two. Number two. And next thing, Reggie, take it to your man, Eugene. We don't want to go in the ghetto there and the kid you shot there.
Yeah, don't tell me.
We saw people of it, they kept in zero.
Leave it. I will call you later.
Okay.
That is Madam Ruth Baker. But there's something, you know, initially I mentioned Rose Baker. So I mentioned earlier about the fact that they call the program getting a lot of different callers. I mentioned earlier about the fact that, you know, some of the times when this guy is on the campaign trail, he pretends like Joseph Waka doesn't exist. I'm talking about the vice tender bearer of the Unity Party. So he was in the Southeast. He was telling the people, vote for me. I am your Joseph. No. Have you ever heard the vice president, Madam Joe Howard Taylor, talk like that?
No.
Never.
Yeah.
She always talk about vote for the president because I president vote for.
Because
But let's listen to this comment.
You will know that we are in Mimma. Because of what we do in Mimma is there. And so, when the Israelites were locked up in slavery, they didn't know that their brother Joseph was a king in Egypt. The children thank you. When the children of Israel, when they were no food, hunger was killing them, and they were locked up in Israel. The children know that the man who ordered food in Egypt was their brother Joseph. They didn't know until a biological brother went there and he put it up in their bed and told them to arrest them. Then he later introduced himself. I am your Joseph. I am your Joseph. Who came from Nimna? So where we know the Palestine. If you capture Nimna, you see a little boy is burying in house and doing everything. I come from the land where the people know how to work. I am your Joseph. All you need is the opportunity. You can do similar work. Get me in the chair and see what I do. Thank you. God bless you.
You know, say us, give me the chance.
I think what I hear here is self-glorification.
Yeah.
Give me the chance.
Yes.
He's not even the presidential candidate.
Self-glorification.
He's running the campaign as if to say he's number
it tells
one.
you,
But like,
it tells you the inner heart.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
team is not cohesive.
Exactly.
It tells you the inner heart.
It tells you it's not coincidence.
One is riding on the other
Yeah.
and waiting for a perfect
Waiting for a
opportunity
perfect opportunity to strike.
to strike.
And that has
That's
proven
all.
what Prince Johnson said
You know,
in the audio. That has proven that.
Yeah.
So
Give me the up. Now, either Gongo will say, I want the peace of the nation.
yeah, they have
I'm
an agenda.
endorsing President Weah because
Yeah.
even though I'm an Mbayan, but I'm endorsing President Weah because I want the peace of the nation to prevail. That's why.
we spoke
That's
about-
what she
we
said.
spoke at length about it when we
us. He can be taking us. He can say, "Hey, look at the two people that can be inside one. One, he can be talking the voice, can't come in outside one group. One can be, he can be laughing with the people, he can dancing with the people,
Go to the mosque. They can go to the mosque.
he can go to the mosque, and not just to go to the mosque business. But the cow can bring to the mosque. It's not just coming to the mosque, but the cow it can bring, and the evil can send it to the mosque behind the cow. You can't miss that one. You can't let that one go.
Send people to Mecca. Oh.
Yeah.
Get the people to the Mecca. Hey Allah, we can't send it that man go can like that one to slip in from inside the hand. Because some of them want the ball can win it. If it dancing, it will send a cow for us to be eating, can be dancing too. That one can let about him. So no, man go, every man go can be sitting there, can be thinking that, it can be happy meeting us.
Hey,
It can
Papa
talk
G,
to,
I go first Zontran rest for you. Oh. You know Zontran rest or Papa Soup?
he said, my brother, you can tell me to put women go in one can, you can tell me that one just now. And why you can be talking, this is a minister, no grumpy soup, one can.
You don't know Gabriel Soup. Oh. Me, I know Zontran rest.
It doesn't. So, Nana, all money go now. We can be telling our bro we can voting for. We say, my bro, if the time, you know, it's yeah, it can help you to go to Micat too. President can help you to go to Micat too. It can be representation for a, it can be the face for a Manungo. But in 1 year now, it can to stamp piano ball. We tell that one. So anytime can hear something.
Oh, you tell Akko that one?
I can tell it. All Manungo can tell it Akko. We can finish that one. So smart time, bro, you can hear something.
We hear something.
You can hear something.
I had a relationship with Carrasco, Mama C, all the people.
Hey, Mama say Carrasco there. He can press now Carrasco. Carrasco can go from most to more here. He can carry the ticket inside here. So Carrasco can be free. But I can be laughing at you don't know somebody will be a president. I want to say something here.
Okay, Benina, but the last time, remember we get rid of Benina. Benina,
You know when he see me here, he cannot leave.
yeah,
He cannot leave. You know, Minister for Fana. People back where around masquerading themselves around here talking about endorsement and tell we are the guru for endorsement. And we haven't come out yet to speak.
but they say the party spoke. They say some member of the party will go to join Joseph Baga.
Let me tell you something. I always feed on my party when it comes to decision. I always feed on that thing that doing the job making for the guy source or income who locate their money in from my pocket. Who they battle with it? Let's do that whole thing. But let me tell you something. You know something about what here. But I tell you the fact. Benina, you will know where I'm going.
Where is that?
I know I ain't got to say it on the radio here, but like people talking for peace sake and what that ain't nobody should be scared to say something coming here. Nothing coming here.
So certainly.
Nothing coming here. But why? If I'm making an endorsement to go behind the president, I would be doing it because of one reason. Because I see some ability in him to know nincompoos.
Let's talk to Minister. Let's talk to Minister Sylvester P. Former Minister Sylvester P. Of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mr. P, sorry for keeping you on the lines. We had an official minister of the Ministry of Stupid Affairs talking, so we wanted to hear him out first.
Yeah, I was carried away by him just now on a serious note. So wonderful good morning to number one, our long short days of information and for me that of you.
Yeah, Sylvester.
Sylvester line is a
Sylvester, line is bad, though.
I think it's a location.
You gotta move around a bit. Yeah, you kind of, you know.
Am I okay now?
Yeah, you better now.
Better.
I'm better now?
Yeah, you better now.
Yes, I just want to say a wonderful congratulations to my former boss, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs. They're congratulations being the endorsement of Thomas Lieutenant Edith Gongolo Ware. Listen, now listen to what you guys said just now about the topic about what the vast number of the Unity Party is saying. Now, there's this, we have common there's this citizen in this party. There's some sinister motive here. to all of the presidential campaign efforts for this country, the war is over, you will get clearly that the vast Senate will also always mention the Senate bearer.
Yeah.
The Senate bearer. He's nowhere. You see, Kamala Harris will always mention Joe and that.
Line is bad.
And it's all this stuff. And then you have to go prepare like you.
Well, it's unfortunate we can't continue with that. Yeah, the speech. Okay, so we're going to that was Sylvester Pewee, but we're going to be getting to the speech now of His Excellency the President. You know, on Wednesday, the President made a rallying call to Liberians. Firstly, he thanked the National Elections Commission for the peaceful conduct of the elections and the level of credibility that attended that process. He also thanked his supporters and all of that for the support, and he said that they've propelled him once again. They've made sure that his coalition for democratic change remains the most prominent, the most formidable political party in the Republic of Liberia. That is, evidenced by the numbers of the votes that he garnered. His political party, the CDC, got the most votes in the last election for the presidency. They didn't really stop there, but also won more legislative seats than any other candidate, far more than their closest, quote unquote, closest rival. So in his speech, there are a couple of things he highlighted. He highlighted new reforms that you're going to be making. But let's just talk about some of the pointers. Let me just read this passage. He says, to every Liberian whose vote we may not have gotten and all other stakeholders in the country, let me also thank you for your contribution to the growth of our democracy and assure you of my unwavering support to build a prosperous nation for all, regardless of political, social, and religious affiliations. I am therefore extending a hand of friendship, hoping that you will understand that this government has done more in a short period of time. So join and let us together continue on the path of development. The next 10 will be dedicated to completing Liberia's rural infrastructure. We intend to fulfill the pledge of ensuring Liberia's capital is connected to every nearby county through fully paved roads. We will continue to grow our economy in order to provide more jobs for Liberians, including creating jobs in the small and medium enterprises sectors and in key sectors like agriculture and manufacturing. We will expand the capacity of the Liberian Electricity Corporation to reach more homes while enhancing industrialization and the creation of jobs. Having reconstituted the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission, which now has 7 independent commissioners, we will accelerate efforts to fight corruption, ensure accountability across government. The new LACC, which has, oh wow, this is gone. Where this gone? Okay, I'm going back to it. There was a little problem here.
You want to reread the speech?
No, somebody.
Stop to the new LSCC.
What? Somebody? Oh no. Okay, no.
But but while you're looking for it, we can say there are key takeaways from the speech the president made, and sitting down and listening to the president speak, I was saying to myself, "Wow!"
So I got him.
That was clear. That was a good strike,
yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah,
a new tune, a good strike to the nation. The first round, the president focused on his record.
Yeah,
right.
This is what I've done.
Yep.
For you in the last 6 years, though you didn't know me, you gave me your country. Now, going forward, this is what I intend to do. He gave an insight of the new and setting the agenda for a new 6-year term.
I just want us to name it so that especially some of the major programs, so that
these are the tick.
Yeah, okay, good. In fact, the minister has it here clearly. So the message, he said, these are some of the key points. He's going to end decades of volunteerism for current teachers and health workers as they all get permanent employment status as of 2024. No more registration and graduation fees for all public schools. Those are the pointers. Grades 1 to 6 for all public schools will join and enjoy the free tuition policy.
Wow.
Salary increment for health workers and teachers and other critical public sector workers, including the police and the army. There's going to be increment. He's also going to ensure that the WAEX fee payment is perpetual by pushing legislation to make it, ensure that it continues. National Cadet Program Office to be established in order to enroll young graduates, mostly first-time voters, into the job market to gain job experience. The National Beachway and Waterway programs to go back under the Liberia Maritime Authority.
Yep.
With electricity, more industrialized jobs for Liberia. He's going to expand electricity and create more industrialized jobs.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president has over the last 6 years demonstrated credibility in doing most of these and can do more. From 2023, the legislative results, you Liberian people already gave the okay. I think that these are the minister's notes. I'm not going to be with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the key points I just wanted to highlight.
Yeah, sure. So you can see that why the president took to the podium using the party as the platform to address the nation, and thanking Liberians for coming out in the numbers in a peaceful manner to exercise their democratic franchise. He also used the opportunity to say, look, going forward, this is my agenda for the next term.
Right.
I'm not just coming here and making empty promises and say, give me a second term. Look at what's on my book. Now, is more people oriented. He's reaching out.
It's to the core.
It's to the core. You remember he started when you were building a house. You have to clear. You got to cut it has a bush area.
Yeah.
Cut the bush, burn the area. Then you do excavation. Put in foundation. Now the house is above foundation level. Now the building blocks are going up. You start thinking about how do we,
Which is easy.
what perspectives are going to go into the house to make it beautiful. It's what the president is saying. Look, we've been able now to set the foundation well. There's economic growth on the horizon. We're making strides in our roads and our electricity program from the first term. We've increased domestic revenue over the last 3 years by $120+ million as a government. That money, so most of it, 60% of it went to funding the election.
The election, $53 million.
Now, so you can see now that next year, when you're not having elections and you have that chunk of money, it goes down into people's pockets.
Yeah.
Through the salaries,
increased salary of nurses, workers, and other people.
Workers, the army, security people,
the teachers. Yeah.
These are critical, people of the economy. And then he talked about the young people too. He said we can't leave them out.
Yeah.
We can't leave them out. We got to start training them to take over.
Yeah.
So the National Cadet Corps program will start.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember.
So you should explain what a cadet program, Honorable Minister.
It's mainly about getting young people into public offices to get experience as they grow. How to work, how to get office mannerism, all those kinds of things. That's what the cadet program, mentorship from people that they are assigned to, so
and it helps by the time
by the time the person leaves high school,
the importance
get into college
work.
and get a job, they know exactly how to behave. That's why the program is about. He said, look, one of the things he also talks about, and which I believe is clear, is that the young people are most, especially our toddlers between the ages 1 to 6.
Yeah.
Let their parents now pay attention to buy more books and things for them, and we will absorb
the school fees,
especially at the public school level.
Yeah.
So the children parents don't have to worry about go bring it one, go bring that one.
Grade 1 to 6.
Grade 1 to 6.
Yeah.
And it's important. It tells you he has a human heart for the young people of our country, and also the parents who, most of them sometimes they don't just
struggle.
have it. They still struggle. Sometimes the children, you see them on the street, say, "I'm going to school for 1 year now." Why? I said, "Mama, I ain't get money to pay my school fees." You understand what I'm saying? So at least public schools now provide them that opportunity to go there free.
Wow.
And so more and more things will happen, while at the same time continuing to build roads and improve on the energy sector of our country. Remember, the Elbc is going through a feasibility study to put a 150 megawatt new power plant on the St. Paul.
Yeah, the St. Paul River. In Bond County.
Bond County.
Yeah.
So
That's going to double the capacity of Mancoffey.
And the economy of Bangladesh.
So we can safely say that in the next term of His Excellency, our business will be resolved in this country.
Yeah, history.
And the thing about it, the president doesn't promise,
And doesn't do
and he doesn't do
You
it.
know, I mean,
You saw what happened in the 17 on yesterday. So it was during the campaign when the president promised that, oh, you only get cover yet? I mean, the people told him that we don't have cover. He said, well, I know.
and you know the sad part
You know?
of this thing about that is that we're not hearing a counter proposal from the opposition.
No,
Yeah.
no, don't have one.
Rescue.
Yeah.
What is your economic plan? What is your
Zero.
No agenda.
What's your agenda
Yeah.
for this country? I've not seen some. I've not heard people come to the radio and say this is what we're
It's all about gas
GDP.
slips and scratch cars.
You know, we
Yeah, and that's why the president talk about it. Say, we're going to go the new government official meet, but we get gas in the scratch guy deal.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We don't have gas in the scratch guy. Our salary been reduced by half.
You know,
It's not like the party official. So just so you know.
these are the things that we should continue to hammer home. That you look at what he is saying.
Yeah.
All of you teachers who have
Volunteering.
those who are
So you're going to end the voluntary service.
Let's hold your heart.
Yeah.
In 3 months' time,
You
you're
start
on the
regular
payroll.
payroll.
On the payroll.
You're on
Yeah,
the payroll.
almost less than 3 months. Also.
It's November, December.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. Yeah.
Like everybody is.
He's on the island with you.
The president started that 3 years ago.
You know, so
3 years ago. So the Ministry of Finance has got a stat that points to over 2,500 voluntary teachers in the last 3 years has been placed on the payroll. So it's
Yeah, no, they've been putting it there since 2020. Yeah.
yeah. So now the rest of them that are remaining, the whole batch is going to get on by January, and there's a lot of positive signs amongst the teachers now since the president made that, because many of them were kind of wondering when this was going to happen.
So the president said there's going to be no voluntary teaching again in Liberia.
No.
None. No voluntary teaching again.
I mean, that's a huge policy statement there,
Mhm.
and giving the president's record
Mhm.
of keeping his promises. They can go home knowing full well now
It's gonna
in
happen.
January.
Yeah.
They be on the payroll.
Yep.
You know, and
The policemen, the army
is-
people, all of that know should know
they're
that
going to get
you're going to get increment in your salary too. The nurses, particularly. We say we carry up nurses. I mean,
We
the
get
increment of
doctors.
doctors.
Yeah,
So we didn't do it for nurses.
these
We're going to do it
clinicians
now.
they call them clinicians.
Yeah,
People who
yeah.
do all the
The lab technicians, the midwives.
all those
And this
people.
was a promise quote under the harmonization scheme. The president talked about it, that the salaries will migrate gradually.
The traditional leaders too.
Exactly.
So all of the different
That's what it's
traditional leaders going to be brought on the payroll and all of that.
You know, there's always been this issue of the National Beach and Waterway Program.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so
Yeah,
there's a
Minister
look.
for Employment.
Okay, let's bring it back to maritime that
Mhm.
originally was handling this stuff,
Yeah.
so that we bring some civility to it. Not that the people who did it first didn't do well.
Yeah.
But I think there's a little bit of too much politics into the program.
Yeah.
And you know, and
So it's going to be like a sustainable,
Yeah.
structure
I
program,
hope, you know, because
fully
maritime
incorporated with the government. Yeah.
should be able to handle that program, because they too have the physical to deal with.
Yeah, I know.
They did it before.
Yeah, they did it before, so
Yeah,
they can deal
yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
And by the way, that Beach and Waterway program has thousands. I think the last time we checked, was about 5,000 young people.
5,000 plus.
These are what we call the low hanging fruits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5,000 young people.
Low hanging fruits. You don't need too much, flowery thing to deal with it.
Mhm.
Too
Yeah,
much
no.
bureaucracy and administrative, nuances to deal with these kinds of things. That simple thing. You pay people every Friday.
Yeah.
50, $60. The
They
man
know.
know he cleaning the beach.
Yeah.
Every Friday you go to one office.
Yeah.
John Brown, you go there, you get his sister.
Yeah, sure, too.
What else? You buy one drum. One gin classic. Saturday morning, he eat a leg, small leg fufu and soup.
Yeah.
He go to Red Bank, buy a bayoko.
And then let's talk to the deputy campaign spokesperson, the deputy campaign manager for operations, Musa Kone. Musa, good morning.
Good morning, Bwaka. Good morning to Minister in the studio and all of the panelists. To also say a very big thank you to you guys for the wonderful job. And a very big applause and appreciation to the management and staff of LBS. In my mind, this is the biggest thing that is happening or that's happened on radio throughout the week, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. I first want to just say thank you to our voters, citizens, supporters of President Weah for the runoff, for the first round of election. Now we're heading to the runoff. We also expect that we will come like ever before. But what I want to really speak on is the statement made by the president, the issue of no more registration, no graduation fee, the issue of the vision waterway, the increment of salary for health workers or nurses, the security sector, the teachers. We as a campaign team, we as sedition, we as Wealis, we as Weashan, seditions, Sidise, this now should be the topic for the next 10 days, and even you, back at the general public,
I agree. I've been saying the same thing.
This is a very strong message that needs to be taken in the loot and crannies of this country. We need to invest in it big time in all of our vernaculars, if possible. It should be in the Quran and the Bible.
This should be the campaign message.
This is the campaign. There is nothing bigger and better than that message. We really need to do it. I just want to say thank you for elevating it at this level. And I hope that every one of us that wants to see President Weah re-elected use this as our Bible and Quran for the next 10 days. I want to say thank you, Mr. Minister. You have made it, but we need to elevate it bigger than this. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. I feel you. I'm fancying for him.
The Minister of Super Affairs said you spoke so well. He wants you to call him after the show. You're fancying for you.
Okay, yeah, if I say it, the weekend starts today, I will call you.
Call me.
No, I think messaging is quite important, and what Musa said is true. Messaging and packaging a message for local consumption, so our ordinary people can understand what was in the message of the president, and using the vernacular, community radios, are important medium through which we can get the message across people. So yes, the strategy is good, and I'm sure works behind the scenes are being done already towards this end. One of the things also too I want to stress as we wind down is about how we, the media people, behave during elections. I remember somewhere in September, the president called the media and enjoined them, all of them, to think about the peace and tranquility of our country during elections. And I'd like to thank the media first for the level of coverage given during the period of the elections, running up to October 2010 and after the announcement of the first round of results.
Right.
We've had some few instances where social media tried to abuse, the landscape, so to speak. But mainstream media, newspapers, radio stations, by and large, did a professional piece of job in trying to provide, to the populace what the candidates were saying, what the messages were all about, talking about, and also to enjoining Liberians to keep the peace no matter what the situation was at the time. I just like to encourage the mainstream media again to continue to do so. We cannot burn the house down simply because we're going to play a football game and there will be a winner. No, we cannot do that. And if there's one institution that can help in ensuring the continued peace, stability, and consolidation of our democratic gains and credentials, is the media. I'd like to implore all of us in the media to not allow our different platforms, our different shows, our different stations, our different outlets to be used to propagate messages that will bring this country down. There's no place for belligerent messages. There's no place for chaos. There's no place for animosity. This is just a contestation to choose now the presidency of our country, the president of our country. Let all of us be mindful of the fact that when trouble comes here,
For all of us.
there will be no microphone,
Nowhere to run.
no newspaper,
Mhm.
or no social media for you to write or run, or to operate. So the peace of this nation rests on all of us shoulders. We have that core responsibility. The state actors will do theirs, the political parties have to do theirs, but we too as media people have to do ours.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that point clear. Sometimes people think that we should be shutting media institutions down because of what comes out of aid. I say no. We should continue to engage
with them.
with them. Let them understand that there are other ways in which they can propagate their messages as opposed to trying to call for chaos or peace. Fake news, deliberate misinformation, fake news, insult of people, maligning people's character, mudslinging, all those things have no place in quality journalism.
And Minister, also the announcement of fake results, those on the election day, that could have caused chaos.
They have no place in quality journalism. If you are a journalist behind a microphone or holding a pen to write in a newspaper and you waft your salt, you would not go down that slippery slope. It's not the right thing to do. If you don't have proof of something, just don't say it. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because journalism is based on a cardinal principle truth. Truth, nothing else.
Nothing
truth.
but the truth.
So when people hear something on the radio and they say John Brown say it, they believe John Brown has done his homework and what he is saying is true. If they call you now and they say, I stand by my source. It's a laziness. It's laziness. I'm a journalist by profession.
Yeah.
It's complete laziness. I stand by my source. That your only defense, you stand by your source. But yet you have maligned somebody's character.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the article
throw the country.
Philip Wuse. Philip Wuse can always get a story and say, you said the man died.
In the midst
The
of
man can't, he said, and I died. He said, I stand by my story.
So we have to avoid that. And I'm making this passionate plea to us as media people. People call and say, why the Ministry of Information don't get it? I say no.
Yeah, that's the next question I'm going to ask
Every time we get involved, people think it's the government trying to
muscle the press.
So that is why I always try to use the PUL as the mechanism to dealing with media institutions. It's better that way.
And that has worked.
Let them regulate themselves
because it is the union.
We don't want to be. Good intention. Remember the Timas Girata situation.
True.
We simply invited him to understand what was this threat about.
The
next thing we saw our officers, lawyers, group of people coming with, as though we had called to carry him to put him to jail. So one has to be careful. That is why I always say, let the PUL, I call the PUL leadership and say, look, this is what's happening. Talk to your people. We all have a responsibility here
to keep the peace.
Yes, to keep the peace. We don't want to be seen because you try to do something, it gets misread. It gets misread.
You're so right, Honorable Minister. When you see and one of the things that happened during this election, you were talking about fake results. When a respected and honorable person like Darius Dillon, who is a senator of one of the biggest constituents in our country, comes out with some tiny little blue plastic bag and says that he has 5,000 some more sheets. You understand how many rims of sheets you're talking about?
5,000 plus
in a rim, and knowing the gullibility of our society and how he came to prominence, you can't do such a thing like that. Today he's not saying, well, those tally sheets are still with them, and and he's not saying those kinds. So it is so wrong, and I'm not trying to single him out, but these were some of the things you had spoon, even to the point where the U.S. ambassador then called them out. They stand from out there and say, the people about to rig the election. This one is coming. They saw boxes in helicopter. All kinds of stuff being thrown out there. Today, here we are in a clean runoff.
I like to commend the public because again, you see, And sometimes we think people in the public are gullible, but no, they're not.
They're not. Oh.
They listen.
They listen. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, they listen, but they don't get carried away by the garbage that's been spewed.
Yeah.
You know, and the approach to it is not. I know people come and say, "Why don't you close this station? Why don't you close this and close that?" We're in a modern world, my people. I know sometimes it's very distasteful, and it's true. It is disheartening. But the way to deal with it is not to be arbitrary too. It's not to be arbitrary.
Not fire for fire.
It's not to be arbitrary. There's a way in which it can be dealt with, and I think it's a learning curve for all of us. You know, whether in opposition or in government, it's a learning curve. The media is like women and children. No matter how frisky, so to speak, they can be.
Yeah.
You got to take time how you deal with them.
Yeah.
If you don't do it well, the same people who say they train against frisky, you don't discipline in there. And the same people who say, look, I had a man beating the child. I had a man beating a woman so. But the same people were there and say, but we're gonna listen, man. We're causing you like this. So. You understand what I'm saying to you? So sometimes it's you got to be careful how you deal with these things. And we take I get a lot of beating. I say, yes, my back is strong. Let me take the beating. But I know at the end of the day, what we're doing is the right thing we're doing because we have to ensure that we tread carefully. We don't want to send the wrong signal that the government is not, tolerant, and the government is not media friendly. No. If there's one person in our administration, in this government, that is so tolerant and strong, is the president of the Republic of Liberia.
Correct. Indeed.
He gets all of the mudslinging. They throw everything and anything at him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, he's not faced by
takes
that.
it with a grain of salt.
And he moves on. So we all should develop that thick skin. But at the same time, too, we should caution the media. And that's why I always talk to the PUL. I said, look, if there's anything, call your people, talk to them, let them slow down.
Yeah.
Let them slow down. This is one country we cannot burn the house down before we even go to the game.
Yep. And you might not be lucky to see a leader like George Ware.
No, I mean,
anytime soon.
But in all of this learning curve, it consolidates the democracy.
Yeah.
And it's strengthening our national tolerance level as we move along.
One community we've never heard from during the whole election process, at least on the radio. I mean, maybe they went out to vote because some of them might have gotten naturalization. I'm talking about the Fula and the Indian. The Fula, they got a representative here. The Fula, the Indian, and the Lebanese community. Yeah, the voting people. The ambassador here. The Indian people, okay.
They are Indian.
Yeah.
They very good. Want to.
Did you vote?
Very motivated voting now.
You voted now?
I'm voting in the Cinco.
Which part of Cinco?
There is 17th Street. No, putting in, no. But I'm voting.
Really?
But you're
Yeah.
not natural.
But you're not natural. You don't naturally voted.
I born Indian from Bancourt, born Liberia. But Indian born here, so I'm Liberian.
No, but the constitution say you gotta be of Negro descent.
Not a descent. You the constitution tell you now you go to country, come into country, born here now, you citizen now. No happy. What constitution telling? I think minister now telling you. Father from Lebanon, father from Indian, come to Liberia, born you Liberia, you Liberian.
But you?
No.
So you're born here.
Brave.
So you voted?
Voted now.
You called the opposition said that fraud.
Before 18, now 14-2.
Let's hear for the food.
Yeah, they do the Lebanese first. What? The Lebanese people,
He talking to him, the Lebanese here.
Yeah.
You know the one he called Lebanese. The Lebanese is Liberian.
Yeah,
The
Lebanese.
Lebanese is Liberian here.
Been here a long time, huh?
Been here a long
I've been
time.
here a long time. Moshanta. The Moshanta family here. He got the OK dry cleaner in the Benzine, the center street corner there.
Yeah.
The Moshanta.
So the born you here?
I born here.
You voted?
I Liberian had no vote. My father, Moshanta, he born me in the Liberian Pella woman here.
Oh,
Born me in Tabon County before we come in Tamarofia here.
So you voted in Monrovia or
I
in
vote
Bronx?
in Tamarofia here.
Oh,
in Tanipo.
the
In
poor.
Tanipo Junior High there. They play high vote.
The people didn't get handled.
I know you from you put your hand.
But every time he used to come to the clinic, he bring the coat. The time the people he give that job, you know. You think I don't know you, mister? The first time he come to the press, he bring the coat. He tell the people say the people tell he 20 and he said the money he printed he won't give 50. I say no, he bring that toy. But he vote. But
What's about Jallo?
all my Lebanese people here,
Okay.
he born here
Yeah, that's Lebanese
in the country here. The Liberian Lebanese here. For the good job he do, he voted that Josh.
You vote that George.
He voted that Josh.
The Lebanese people won't George here.
The people he like that Josh.
The Lebanese people.
He like that Josh.
Okay.
You know that Josh he do the business into everybody. That George, he make the economy he stable. Everybody he get a good environment to do the business here.
Okay.
That George, he try to make the people he call people. So he hear the people in the radio. The Lebanese people he calling me now. They want to call me. Tell the people say they bring the salt to me in the container. Tell the minister help to free now. I know to pay the tax to the country. He free the container. You know him in the radio.
Oh, they want to show you.
Yeah, he want
to say, "But tell the minister."
He connect in the people here. Everything that time I go to the commerce. All the time I go to the commerce, they see me in the Mawani. He call me say he friend in the minister. Tell the people he get the container. Why he do that? He do everything. He hide the people. He generate money to run the country. So I want to tell all my Lebanese people, thank you here for vote the George. First he do the 18, now he do that too. He do that too. And
What's about the Fuller people? They voted. They represented the Fuller people. Yeah.
yeah, no, now I'm for telling you something, yeah?
Yeah.
The full of people this time for we put one Kennedy for senator. Now I'm the fucking
They show one. They're not Fuller person one. They show one. The Fuller woman one.
put for one Kennedy there. That drag full of border for one for senator, but I just frock it out. Just frock it out. But full of people now.
I see Jallo.
Yeah.
You eat bread?
I eat the bread.
Long around.
You probably for taking the week for taking the food. Them you can lay from you been to Bamako before.
Go to Mali, from Mali.
Go to Mali. Go to Tanda people he carry the airfield to fight here. You go to London.
You want magnet or butter?
What on now for talk? I don't know that one. I don't know that one. But I want to tell you all my
Magnet is that white one in the jar. Magnet.
The man is supposed to be that one. It's a magnet. The magnet is why he stick that thing. No, the way he talk about the man is
magnet. It's not mayonnaise.
You know, magnet. The man is for putting for long spoon, for putting for bread.
Yeah.
Magnet, for putting for bread. We Mali will call magnet.
Magnet for Mali. Me, I know for Labira Fula. Yeah, for Labira Fula. But I want to tell all my Fula people this country, Fula Pupu, Madinko Pupu, Abiram Pupu, everybody now one Pupu. And for tell everybody for this country, the second round, full of people them for registration for vote because plenty we full of people them for born we are. You go to Nima, full of people them day. You come for Morovia, yeah, full of people them day. You go for Lufa, full of people them day. You go for everywhere, full of people them day. Because if full of people know inside the country, yeah, nobody for drink hatai, nobody for hitting tea in the morning.
When Nene coming to vote?
Nene, I don't bring Nene back here again. For Nene for Chiti on the library again. I know the till library get do for me. I know one in the winter. It did not do for me. So my brother want for all my money. Okay. They voting for the Yoshi now.
I know.
Yoshi. Now open that one the correct for this country. I see that one for talking now. For Nene for born for me 3 children, 4 children now. If it are from 1 year, 2 year, 3 year up to 10 years old, now free school that one day. So people there now population increase not coming for this country.
Daniel Thomas, you wrap it up now.
Thank you. So this was a very good discourse.
The mic.
So thank you. This was a very good discourse. I want to say thank you to the minister for joining us, and I'm very sure that our audience had a very great time. All we can say, we go out to the well of and know your candidate. So the president's ballot is a male and a female gender equity. And I want to say thank you also to our Elbc staffers for supporting us regularly. Next Friday, I'm sure it's going to be a very great one. So that's all from my end.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's edition of the show. That was Daniel Nook's topics, by the way. Earlier, you heard from, a host of different personalities. We heard from Mamadi, we heard from the guy from Foya. We also heard from the Fula community, the Indian community, as well as the Lebanese community, so a host of people, and Cousin Ben and I was also here. By the way, but most importantly, we had the Honorable Minister of Information here this morning. He was our special guest. He was here from from the beginning of the show up to the end. This is his platform on.
You're from it, so you keep it time, man. We don't want no sitting this time, man. They want you increasing, man, boy.
So it's there.
Yeah, so it's now, man. Because I only play with the man who bought 1 million from Nima, they will break it small. Sit it about the question. Like what we're doing, we're joking, oh boy.
How you a buffer? How you a buffer? The big buffer?
Yeah, the big buffer. I was telling buffer everything. You don't be way buffer. You see the problem, boy?
They use that to him.
Eh?
Yeah.
To him.
You don't understand why you don't. Yes, man. Let me tell you something.
Because
Tell me something, boy.
certain uncle call here.
Who uncle? Buffer uncle?
Certain uncle.
Uh-huh.
He leave message for Buffer. He say tell certain uncle call here to tell Buffer to call here. But Buffer not call.
Yeah, Buffer don't cook. Now the problem I get with Buffer, you don't listen. You know what happened up there?
Call.
Let me tell you what happened in Primo. Fighting. You're not supposed to be buffer. For me, I think the cheap buffer, man.
By the way, she said buffer in court.
Yeah, but buffer can drive out all over in people. Alone, man. So I can a man who white drink pass be somebody with kosu. You know, possible, man. Buffer go court.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he's on buffer. The kosu fair how on buffer. Yeah.
Please be decorous, man.
Yeah.
Be decorous.
Yeah. But you see the thing. When the thing was happening, we called Buffer, we told Buffer, we said, hey, call Reba. Put something in Reba pocket, right? Go sit down at your small bro. Buffer said, oh, that man, on nothing. You know nothing, man. Forget it, on nothing. So the picking go and come, have meeting with all the fine money things at night. They say, we'll get you low. But put a thing in the campaign, man. Before we go low, we can't see Buffer.
Man, we feel you, man. We feel you.
I call Frontier and say, you don't help your man, Buffer. He said, no, the play can't make it. Frontier said, Buffer can't make it. I said, but why you do here? So get your mess on money. Say, my friend, I got my pipe campaign. Can't wait Buffer wow. Buffer low right, low left. Yeah, you can't say left. Nothing doing. But the team Buffer, we win a case. What case? We win a case. Supreme Court.
I don't see lie.
No, we try, we make it, man. We make it. But we need to send message to our son, Ibra. You keep it tight.
Yeah, keep it tight.
You keep it tight. Don't worry.
That we can balance it.
I want to work and balance it. We drop it because the thing you don't get that thing can be happening from the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Two part when hacking one day when one go one side then keep it balanced. Yeah. So begging you so keep it tight. Lufa Kante, thank you, Nima. We break it tight. But number two, the message remain. Let me tell you, everybody in all the country the number remain 2, yeah?
Yeah.
It remain 2. Our number say 2.
Yeah.
Just put it 2. Yeah, what number that?
The other ticket with the mayor,
no, that it remain 2.
Mm-hmm.
It remain 2. We vote 2 for vote 2 again. That 2.
The women of Liberia
Oh, yeah, in the interior.
have to make sure that they are at the table just as the men.
Yes.
The vice president of the country represents the women of Liberia.
Yeah.
They have to show a strong support for women.
There's only one ticket that has a woman on it.
Has shown as a chief feminist that he loves women at the table. And that's why he's giving a lot of women opportunity in his government. The vice president is there.
Mm-hmm.
The women should now come out in the loudest of their voices to support the vice president.
The voice of the information minister, Ledger Ready. Bye-bye. We will come here again next week with a brand new edition of